Finally today, with the time at 24 minutes past 9, we wanted to turn to the case of the writer Ma Jian, a Chinese writer living in London, who was due to come to Hong Kong to take part in a couple of speeches as part of the International Literary Festival at Tai Kwun, the arts venue, which is managed by the Jockey Club. However, the Jockey Club have said that he's not welcome to take part there. For comment, we're joined now by Tom Grundy, editor-in-chief, co-founder of the Hong Kong Free Press, one of the, I don't know if they actually broke the story, but one of the early people to report that story, and also one of the organisers earlier this month of the Free Expression Week, a series of events relating to free expression in Hong Kong, organised by the Free Press, Amnesty International and Reporters Without Borders. Tom, good morning to you.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. First of all, your reaction to this banning of Ma Jian and the explanation offered by Tai Kwun.
What are Tai Kwun thinking, and what have they done to their international reputation after years of hard work, what looked like such an awesome project that the government had some involvement in but was coming under such praise. And to see this statement yesterday that there's going to be no politics at Tai Kwun. This is art. What are you talking about? How is this possible for an international art space? You go outside in Hong Kong, breathe the air, go through the turnstiles at the MTR. That's politics. It touches everything. So I don't know what they're expecting to be able to do, because even at the literary festival, you have authors like Letta Hong Fincher, who's written about leftover women in China. It's impossible, to go about this. It seems, I don't know whether it's a case of censorship, whether the government has pressured the Jockey Club, has pressured Tai Kwun, which it controls, or whether it's self-censorship, where the director, has decided that this would cause trouble. But certainly, you have the Streisand effect here, because it's international news, it's all over the news wires, and its reputation in tatters. So why do this? I don't understand.
Do you have any feeling as to why Ma Jian in particular should be singled out? You've mentioned that there are other people involved in the literary festival who might also be considered controversial.
Well, if you look at his new novel, China Dream, it's a totalitarian, it's satire about totalitarianism in China, and it pretty directly takes aim at Xi Jinping. So I suppose it would be the content of that. He's not even been able to get the Chinese version published in Hong Kong, which is also complained about. But again, we don't know whether this is censorship or self-censorship. If it's self-censorship, these ideas of red lines that have been talked about this year, it's kind of worse than censorship, because we don't know what is a very fuzzy red line entails. So you get people often several times removed from the actual case or incident or book, panicking and taking these actions. It's much more effective than censorship. And to be honest, after trying to organise, Free Expression Week and having this litany of incidents this week, and Victor Mallet, the FT journalist, denied entry late last night at the border, one has to wonder, would it just be easier to skip ahead and let's have censorship? Because at least there's a binary, on or off, can or cannot to it, where you know where you stand and you know what you can and can't say. Instead of having people running around, in a panic over the most innocuous things, making matters worse, I think, in this case. If it had just gone ahead, the reputation of Hong Kong, of Tai Kwun, of the Literary Festival would have been intact. I don't think anyone would have said anything.
And, of course, the red line is taken to referring to separatism and questions of independence, but Ma Jian has got nothing to do with that.
That's right, and I think there is concern that the idea of independence being a red line will just expand to, as it already has, really, self-determination, and for those perhaps calling for an end to one-party rule, although Lee Chuk-yan, who has called for that, is being allowed to stand for election.
But the latest, isn't it, coming back to this Ma Jian case, is that another venue has been provided.
Can we do? Sorry?
Sorry, but the latest on the Ma Jian case is that particular case is that apparently another venue has been found, and the expectation currently is that he will come to Hong Kong and he will speak. Do you expect that to happen?
Yeah, we also said, can we help? And I'm sure there are others in Hong Kong. It's very hard to get spaces. Would host him, and it would continue. But if the government turned away a top journalist, didn't even let him in the city yesterday, who knows if they will let him in this afternoon? We're going to be monitoring that. But you have this other issue of space, and when pressure is applied, where you can hold these events. And I'm not really joking, but I think Free Expression Week next year, if we have trouble with the law in terms of what you can and cannot say, or whether we have trouble getting space, we'll get a boat and we'll go into international waters. And, I thought about this a few days ago, half jokingly. It seems that may have to happen.
Okay, a question from Anthony, who says, not surprising, in 1993, Taiwanese journalist Chang Hua-yan was deported by Hong Kong Special Police Force after asking Hong Kong governor some embarrassing questions.
Yeah, so it's not unique that people have been turned away at the border, not even,
or kicked out.
We've had, sorry?
Or kicked out, deported?
I don't know about much history of particularly journalists having their visas cancelled. I think that's quite new, and we've imported the very worst element, I think, of the Chinese censorship infrastructure, in that if we don't like what you say as a journalist, we kick you out. But denying people at the border, yes, that happens around the world, and it's happening.
I think the listener's point. I think the listener's point is that this happened under the colonial system as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So what? I'm not defending the colonial system. I mean, I'd like to ask Carrie Lam, how this is justified. But week after week, when we challenge her on that, she'll say she can't comment on individual cases, or it's all in accordance with the laws and regulations. So, colonial time or not, we need some transparency to this, and we need some reassurance that free expression, freedom of speech are intact in Hong Kong, because just look at the questions that were asked at the UN this week. It's really taking a battering with Hong Kong's reputation and the civil liberties as they're perceived on the world stage.
Okay, well, Tom Grundy, Editor-in-Chief, co-founder of the Hong Kong Free Press, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. And Rachel, many thanks to you. So we've got time for this week. Here's the weather before we go. Sunny periods, back some temperature today, about 26 degrees. The winds will strengthen tonight. There will be some light rain patches around. And the outlook is going to be a little bit windy tomorrow, and then sunny periods are forecast for Sunday.